Hello and welcome to episode 14 of Sudoku with Tsvetii. It's been 2 entire weeks. And with that, I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice. That's a joke. As the music drops in, we are feeling good. We are looking good. It has been a day. This is recorded on February 14th, otherwise known as Valentine's Day. Shout out to Galentine's Day for the people that watched Parks and Rec. I was not one of them, but I know where the reference is from because I don't like feeling left out. Agatha just walked across the cat tree, across my lap, to the little ottoman beside my desk. And she is currently just sitting down, looking at me with the most adoring eyes possible. Because she knows we're in for some pain. Time for a hard puzzle. And yes, I removed the cursor from the beginning so that I will be able to see and not make the thumbnail look so trashy not make the thumbnail look so trashy. Ow, Agatha. That hurts, sweetie. Your claws hurt. Agatha is in the midst of heat right now. So she's a little bit extra vocal, which is very odd to say, even though she's always typically very vocal. But she's a little bit extra vocal this week. It's okay, big girl. You know, it's just like all of us. She just wants to be loved. And I think I've had a good little theme the last couple days of having a little message for the day with the video. And I think today's message is going to be, don't let fear prevent you from diving in the deep end. And what I am saying that is, well, of course, if you know how to swim, you're going to be less afraid, of course, but today at work, I decided that I was not going to be afraid of working my new role and afraid of being by myself in my new position, even though I'm not the most competent or confident in my role just yet. But I went headstrong in it, and I was able to adjust quickly as I was thrown in the deep end. Isn't that right, Agatha? Isn't that right, big girl? You are a menace right now. Do you want a little snack? Okay, we'll get you a little snack. Okay, excuse me for just one moment while I get Agatha a little snack. Agatha, come on, sweet bee. Little string bean. Here you go, big girl. All right. Hopefully that'll distract her for probably 15 to 20 seconds. Anyways, once again, just try to understand the situation you are in and allow yourself to be uncomfortable in a way that will be conducive to what you are trying to achieve. If that makes any sense, I hope it does. But allow yourself to be uncomfortable in these kind of situations that will help you grow as a person. Well, we know that's a 7. And now, back to focusing on Sudoku. Because after all, it is called Sudoku with Tsvetii, not Life Lessons with Tsvetii. That is episode 74, if I recall correctly. Because all of these are planned out months and months and months ahead of time. They are not. I'm just spoiling you and spoiling it right now. Okay. Agatha's over there meowing at literally everything else. So I am free for the time being. That poor little baby, she's going through so much. Alrighty, well, we do know that 9 has to be right here, which means 6 will be right here. We are making considerable and substantial positive progress. And so now, oh, she's noticed me again. I may be in trouble. I may be cooked. Well, we know 8 has to be there. I think we now know that 9 has to be here. Okay, so we know 9 has to be there, there, and there, and there. We did make some positive progress on that first little go around, so that's amazing. Well, we do know that 3 has to be down here, which means that this 3 will be there. What else are we missing over here? We're missing 2s. Ew, 2s. And then the dreaded 5s, as you may know from paying attention these last couple, well, most of this series, actually. Most of the series, really. I detest the number 5, mostly because it's just the one that has been giving me the most trouble as of late. Well, we do have 1 and 5 already carved out over there, so we can potentially ignore it for right now. But anyway, so let's go back through 1 through 9 and see if we can figure out anything. Well, we know our ones both have to be over there. We do know that 2 has to be in the middle here, whether this is top 1 or this bottom 1. We can't really decipher any other 2s at this time other than just throwing a dart at a dartboard. And that is not what we are trying to do right now. We know 3 has to be down here, which means 3 in this column over here on the far left column can only be in those particular spots. We do know that it's the same for 2. And what else are we missing? 4, 5, 6. We're missing 6 as well. So it has to be a 6 there as well. And the proverbial hodgepodge of what those numbers could be. Anyways, back to 3s. Not really too much we can interpolate or interpret with these. So let's move on to our 4s. We do know 4 has to be one of these 2. Not really much else to claim. Not really much else we can write home about with the 4s. Other than we have just a general idea of where they will be, but we do not know exactly where they are. Let's see. Well, we know 5 is up there, so we know 5 is down here. Anything else we can look at? No, not really. Let's move on to our 6s. We do know 6 has to be here, which means our 5 is right there. So let's go back to our 6s. As we know, this will be a 6. Apologies for that. We do know 6 has to be there. So any other 6s? Any other takers for these 6s? My kingdom for a 6. Let's see, we know 7 has to be down here, of course. Anything else we can solve? Well, we know 7 has to be there. We know 3 has to be there. So the only other number that is missing is a 4. So we know 4 has to be right there, which means 4 is right there. We know 4 is right there. And then we know 4 has to be up there. Any other things with the 4s before we move back over to our 6s? We are making positive progress. 7s. We are pretty naked on the 7s. But that is okay. Let's see. I will come back to this when we are finished with our second round, because I feel like there may be a secret hidden there. We know 8. That's an 8, not a 7. You fool. And so we have finally we have finally deciphered a little bit of these 8s, where we know that 8 has to be in the middle over here and over on the right on this quadrant. I just love the idea of English in this situation, where it's like 8 is in the middle of the far left side, middle of the far left middle quadrant. And then this one is the far right side of the top left quadrant. English is a quandary, as they say. I'm pretty sure the kids say that. Don't quote me on that. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're missing a... What are we missing? 3, 4, 5. Of course it's a 5. Well, we do know 6 has to be up here. Anything else? Well, there's 4 and 5, so we know 4 definitely has to be down here. And then 5 is where we are going to grit our teeth and wag our finger. Oh, we know 4 actually just has to be here. And so that's 5 or 7. So we are slowly but surely limiting down and figuring out what we are missing. What are we missing? A 2, 3, and 8 right there. 3. Oops. Oops. I'm falling apart. Missing a 3 and 7 right there. 3 and 7. Which we're also missing a 2. So 2 has to be here in the middle, which means that we know 2 is over here. What are we missing? A 2, 3, and 8. And then a 3 and 8 up there. Okay, okay. Well, we do know that that can't be a 3, so we know that can be an 8. Can't even rule out the 7 just yet, unfortunately. Anyway. Anything else we can do? There's not really much else we can do here. Well, we know that can't be a 4. Oh, well, we know this is a 4, which means that this will be a 4, which means that this will be a 4, which this means that'll be the 6, to which we know that this will be our 6 over here, and this 6 will be in the corner, so we've solved all of our 6s. Awesome, awesome, awesome. It just took a second to breathe, and we were able to solve it pretty quickly. Well, not pretty quickly. We're still going. We're still going. I'm not getting ahead of my skis here. But let's see, let's see. We are looking good on 1s. We know that 2 and 3 has to be over there. What are we all missing? What are we missing? 2, 3. What are we missing? 2, 3, 5. We know 5 is up here, so we know 5 cannot be here. Okay. Yeah, we know the 5 has to be down there, so we know 5 can't be up there. Again, we are still making some good progress throughout the puzzle. We are still making some good moves here. We know that 2 cannot be here, because we know that the R2 has to be over here, which means that is cannot be A2. What else were we missing here? I mean, we know 2. Yuck. That's like a 2, 3, 7. Not 9, but like 2, 3, 7, and 8. Not really much we can deduce from that. We are now going to turn our attention as we look for any other trends or patterns that we have seen and can see right now. What would this be? 2, 3, 7, 8 again. So I feel like there will be a beautiful moment when we will find that we will figure out everything and it'll all come together. And that is the hope. That it will all come together. We have all our 6s, so anything with 7s, not particularly. I mean, we know that the 7 could be down here. That's really about it. That's all I really feel like putting down at this point as a potential solution. We know 8 could be there, or there, technically, which isn't very inspiring. You know, 9 has to be there or there, and then there or there. Let's see, is there any way we can figure out So if like, let's just pretend, and use our noggin a little bit. If we believed that this was a 1, that would be a 5, which means this would be a 7, which means this would be a 5, which means this would be a 1, and that would be a 2. Which means this would be a 7 down here, which means this would be a 5. Which means that would be 5. I'm just trying to go down a line of thinking here that could potentially help us solve a little bit more of the puzzle. I kind of agree with the idea that this might be 2 and 7. I just with no effort or no logic or effort backing it up, but it is just the idea and the principle that is making me believe it. Mostly because I am just haphazardly throwing a guess at the board because I do want to knock out this puzzle. Let's see. You know what? I believe we can check. We are still looking good. I thought we were fine, but a little bit of reassurance never hurt nobody. I mean, this could be a 5 technically over here as well. Sorry, I hit the microphone with my hand. We know that could be a 5 technically. What are we missing? 5, 7, 8. 7. What are we missing? A 2. So that's a 2. That's 2 and 8. 5. Technically could be a 7. And that's a 5, 7, and 8. Because we know. Huh? I was going to say because we know that 2 has to be down here, but we don't know that. Let's see. Is there anything we know it can't be? Well, we know one of these has to be a 2, of course. So if like this were, let's say this were 7, that'd be a 5. That would be a 7. Which means that would be 2. That would be a 5. Which would work. Which means this would be a 1. That would be a 5. No. Yes. So I do believe this will be our 7. So let's take our click here at 18 and a half minutes and go, hey, this is where we fall off the rails here. And this is fine. Which means that would be a 5. Which means this would be a 2, that would mean lead that to be a 5, which means this is a 5. Means this will be a 1, that's a 2. Which means that's a 3. That'll be an 8. 7. Alright, that's actually working out well. I believe my hunch might have been right. But I could be proven wrong at any moment. Ain't that life? But we know that's a 3 and 8 because there's a 7 right there. We know this is 3 and 8, so we know that that'll be a 7, which will mean that is a 3, which means that'll be a 2. That's our 7, which means that'll be our 9. That's a 2. That'll be an 8, 7, 8. Ooh. That'll be a 3, which means that'll be an 8. That's a 3. That's an 8. And this will be a No, it cannot be a 9. Oh, it's a 3. That's the 9. Hey, we did it. Just a little hunch and a little bit of elbow grease got us through it. And being willing to make a mistake. I mean, of course, knowing you can just retrace your steps, but being willing to make a mistake and make yourself look silly can lead to great things. I think I said grit or Greek. God forbid. Anyways, hope that you have a wonderful day wherever you may be, and I will catch you tomorrow. Goodbye. Au revoir.